Every new day starts with the same thing, an open hood. Let's check the butter. It's there for some reason. The brake is in place with antifreeze. It's unclear what to do. We will resolve this issue soon. By virtue of my ass, I didn't approach the car again, therefore more than 2 weeks, or even 3. Minus the wheel, the rear one is also lowered there. That's the end of me too. I don't know, while the situation is like this, there's just no time to stupidly do this. And since it stood for who knows how long, it is known whether it will start. Let's watch. Oh, the clutch didn't even drop, and the brake pedal didn't drop. Great. These are plus or minus indicators. Yeah. It woke up. What's there? All the same in the arena. An olive tree, and this is an olive tree. Tin. Well, in short, now we're chasing her. A little. Maybe we'll buy something. By the way, I have already bought something with a subtle hint of a trial with electricity. 10 rolls of duct tape. So, antifreeze, we have a dog blinking. Okay, let's go. Let's see how she feels. Of course, no one expected this, but we had a problem with antifreeze. And it's unclear where she's firm. She squeezed it out of nowhere. But I'm sitting on that pipe over there. Damn, he's all miserable. Well, that's bad. Because the antifreeze is gone. Now let's have a dollop of water. To do especially. But I don't really have a choice. But I ordered 10 liters of antifreeze, and we will replace this rusty liquid with normal antifreeze. But you still have to wait for some amount of time, and you will need to change the yoke. However, I still don't understand where it came from. Well, in theory, probably from one of these pipes. Everything seems to be there. Dry. Yes, you'll understand in short. Okay, we are waiting for antifreeze and solving this problem. Beauty? In general, the problem started from the house itself. That's how I left, and that's how I arrived. Look at this splendor. So, well, everything is clear. Everything is more than clear. It's pouring out of that compound. Now there is such a smell in the cabin. You can't even imagine. Wonderful, wonderful. All right. In 2-4 days, I will have a new antifreeze. We throw out that yoke. We need to find some pliers to put the original yoke back on. It's kind of like this, self-tightening. But it's so comfortable, so comfortable. Oh, there was a rag, think about it. But it's hot. Which I was looking for. Here it is. Oh, look. All soaked with antifreeze. Well, not with antifreeze, but with the stuff that's filled in there. Now I poured in somewhere, I do not know how much, half a liter of water. He was devoured anyway. Plus some kind of incomprehensible foam. Perhaps because the antifreeze itself is shit. I mixed it with water, foam appeared. But as you can see, it spilled out. I was lifting. But this is not antifreeze, this is already some kind of parasha, sorry for the expression. In short, we change the antifreeze in a few days. And let's try to figure out the brakes again. They're a little wadded up. The clutch, by the way, is better. But yes, you need to change the clutch master cylinder and the clutch working cylinder. And it all costs a lot of money. And we need to change this stuff, because the reverse gear in the course does not work for me precisely because of this. Well, there are still nuances, but in any case, this thing needs to be changed. We need to buy it. So, the terminal is in place. Collective farm. Well, a new adventure with the Passat B3 Grand Tourism continues. While I was walking around the car, there was already a whole puddle there. In short, you need to order another pipe along the way. That's for sure the pipe of the return of the stove. The stove really blows cold. I threw off the battery, just in case of fire. It's unclear when I'll be back here again, but I would like to be back in 2 days, but just work the sea. Something like that. Well, it was a free moment. Let's not waste it on ourselves. Let's spend our favorite Passat B3. Pull the hood right away. This wheel is sad, then most likely too. Some kind of oil, possibly antifreeze. Whatever. So, what does it matter? So, the task today is not that much, but they are all not fast. We change the clamp immediately on the return of the stove. We change the reverse gear sensor. He jumped up, so we need to come up with something to perform possibly. I have it all. Also, let's see what else I bought. And this is us. This is a can of black paint. More on that later. I took the clamps and didn't look at what. Maybe I looked that they are with such a thing that twists. I don't need them. I hope it is removed without problems. I took some oil in a box. 82.90, took a mineral water bottle. It feels like we have nothing in the box. And, of course, I took 10 liters of pink antifreeze. I hope this will be enough for me. Among other things. So, the clamps from the house are still. We may need a clamp, but the only problem is that it is aluminum. Vitamins. I'll explain later why they are. So, and among other things, I also took another engine cleaner. Well, a cleaner of something from oil stains. And here's our new detail about the box sensor. Here you can see that this one is native. Well, maybe it's not native, it's a little tired. Because there are a few millimeters more on the new sensor we change, then first we need to deal with that stuff. You may have to bend it. So, a native yoke. Some, I don't know what it is, about pliers that we will need. But initially, before you climb into the heating and the heating system and so on, you need to climb, get to the flap. Because there is an opinion that, and it's not an opinion, but proven facts, that if in summer in any position, the flap gives warm air, and in winter, well, already in this weather, in any position, it gives cold air, as if from the street. There is an unpleasant situation with the flap. I hope that physically she is fine, but there is something to look at. So now we are unscrewing 4 bolts here, 4 bolts here, 1 bolt there. We throw it all off. We take out the motor, take out the casing, and see what happened there. And while the hood is open, let's throw everything, including the clamps. Come on, the new clamps I'm sitting on. They are apparently. One is larger in size, and the second is in size. Perhaps we will put a new yoke. Here are the things for today. I hope this slurry will help us clean everything from machine stains. But that will be later. Oh, and one more thing. One more thing. I got something. And something came to me. Can you guess what it is? And why is that? And vitamins are needed for this. But more on that later. To add that I have a bolt for 17 with nuts that are for the control screws. And the oil in the box. What do you think? Why such a combination? This all applies to Wahoo. I also have a spool, the so-called 4 nipples, to check if the nipples are twisted at all. Because both wheels are lowered, they are poisoned with nipples, including. Well, they are twisted. Okay. Although it was possible to tighten up there. Now let's take a look at what's going on in the second one. There is no time to find rubber. Interesting, delicious options fly out. While you're sitting, doing things, they fly out. And the 14th radius is not that much. I want out all season. But there is no all season as such. There are spikes everywhere. I'll have to put what I find along the way. And I don't want to put a Chinese. The sensor has changed. The next one we have is a yoke. I got to the flap. And this is quite an adventure, I can tell you. Not very interesting, I would say so. Here is the picture. There is no regular filter in the Passat, as far as I understand, and someone stuffed some kind of cut Zhigovsky filter. At least it says Marin Rush. And someone pulled either a bang or something from above, so that, apparently, any garbage did not fall and did not spoil the motor of the stove. And this is important because the stove motors fly out. Be healthy on board. Where is he? And in general on the wagons. Here it is. He's fine. Except for one thing. Once for a vandal screw, and twice for a vandal screw. And the first attempt, apparently, was unsuccessful. Along the way, the motor will also arrive soon. But these are small things. The fact is that you and I climbed here solely for the sake of the shutter. If only the light was still standing properly, of course. Well, let's say like this. It's there. It is already repaired, changed. But this is the maximum. This is the maximum that she does. It should at least close like this, overlap. The shutter is already someone I don't know what it is. Apparently the tape is some kind of peculiar. Someone repaired the holes here, which are clogged with, like, this kind of foam. This is collective farming. How do you like it? How do you like that? Something came loose. Everything was assembled incorrectly, of course. The torpedo was being removed. Apparently, to change the stove. Although all the native rivets are here. I don't know how. It doesn't matter. In general, the flap is trouble. She does this and doesn't go back. I don't know for what reason. The cable is 100% in place there. Maybe the problem is there. Yes. In vain I filmed it all. I thought it was just Peruina's flap. And with this, there will be no special problems to reglue it. But the cable does not go back and forth. This is cold. This is hotter. And that's it. And so, that's what we got. Okay, let's sort it out here. What can I say? But it's not that difficult to understand. We need to understand what is happening there. But I have a feeling that the cable is not pressed. How can I explain this? Latches. And he's hanging out there like he's not himself. On each cable, there is a latch like this. And this one, as if you look at it, nothing happens at all. But he goes back and forth. He should be pinned down, but he drives. Let's try to drive him to his native place now. Here, of course, it's convenient to do everything, but I don't have much choice. To get the cable back in place, I had to do this. Just disassemble the floor of the car, the floor of the inside half, to press this rivet, this rivet, this rivet, this blue cable. He is just responsible for the flap. But we have another problem. That's how completely cold it is, and it is closed. And here it is completely hot, and it is ajar. That is, now the cable will need to be adjusted. It's just some incredible bullshit. Excuse me. It was not very easy to sort out all this, you know, it was easy and pleasant to do it. But this one here, this bracket delivered. I thought I was going to stick my fingers in and insert it. Yes, now. In short, I had to shoot everything here. But at the same time, I found one of the diagnostic connectors. There should be a second one somewhere, which can already be connected to diagnostics somehow. And we will also need to do something in this area. And specifically, close this place with a package, grab it with tape, push everything else under the skin. Because the exhaust was done to me. Okay, he farts, but he farts into the salon and stinks. We set up the cable, put it back together. Let's try to find the second diagnostic wire, because there is nothing to do with one wire. They are signal type, and it is really possible to connect to diagnostics firm 2 wires. Firm 2 connectors, sorry, there are already 2 wires. Here. We need to find the second connector, and he must exist here. Scraps of the stove, of course, no one cleaned. Find the second connector. Maybe he just fell into the hull. And here he is. Oh no, it's the same one. And yes, it means it's buried somewhere in the skin. We collect it back, check it. Now the main thing is to adjust the flap. Well, the Vandal way. You understand, right? I was present here. Especially these things are broken. Of the four, to live on. It has to be filmed, right? If you order a new one, not a new one, but firm disassembly. And here all four fasteners are broken. I don't know how to restore it. Yes, it's possible and fuck. It just holds onto itself with the help of foam rubber. It's awful. And everything is divided, of course. And this part, the console, it barely took off, because it is somehow crookedly installed. Let's try to return it to the factory now. I'm tired of picking it out of here so that it doesn't break in half. Damn, can I lubricate it? Fuck him, yeah. Another 1,000 years pass. Reliable German equipment, you can't say anything. We pick at the flap further. Another broken wire was found in the braid with this chip. It is unknown where he is going. I'm going to try to look at the diagram now, but I'm sure it won't be successful, because we still have these unknown wires hanging here. So far, I have searched according to the scheme. Looked at it, I have found nothing. There are still some broken wires, but it's most likely from the radio. Until you get there. And that's it. The flap works like a factory practically. This is what we have hot with a small remainder. But here already, I think, the mechanical wear of the cables themselves. This one is cold, at full that is. We leave it like this. It's better not to do it. Roughly speaking, I put everything as a factory. Cool. Cool. Now we are collecting all this, but we still need to find the second wire. Although, on the other hand, what to diagnose it, if everything is so clear? Here the wiring is rotten, some of the sensor ends from old age, some are buggy because of the same rotten wiring. In short, we're putting it all back together. It needs to be insulated. Oh yeah. We will use our 10 meters of duct tape now. It is necessary to insulate, and, perhaps, it is necessary to anoint the mechanism. And that's exactly what we have provided for. Yes, it is provided. There's also a piece of interior trim in the lower, upper glove compartment. This shit had to be removed. There are 2 bolts, respectively. Everything is in a depressing state. Now I'm going to find vitamins, show you what's there. Vitamins are vitamins, and inside we have solidol. In the hair already. Well, the cat has been here. It's better to miss all this and just forget it. Don't come here anymore. But there is only this thing to change, but no one will naturally change it. And we have solidol for that thing I showed you. There's no point in looking for anything in this mess. Collecting. Scotch and packaging. Well, I can't put up with the fact that the exhaust stinks right from under the box. Because the pipe, which is supposedly rotten, which was allegedly not made, it is here. What I paid money for, as they say. So, the connector now lives here. Well, there are little things left. Damn, this is it? I don't understand that this is an additional attempt at noise insulation. It's not a factory. Well, this is 100% not a factory. This is some kind of stupidity. Yeah, it's a little messy. Oh, well. We'll figure it out. We'll give from the hood, as the Germans would say. That's it, screwed it back on, tested everything. The stove is working. In the sense of blowing. The flap should also feel lovely. I don't think we'll have a problem with that. The glove compartment is in place. It now sort of works in 2 positions. I don't know what happened. Perhaps he even tried to earn adequately. The bottom shelf is also in place. Nothing comes out. Everything is screwed on. Everything is in its place. Not a single extra bolt. This, by the way, will need to be hung back to the brake tubes. Everything is in its place, everything works. And I understand people who have already scored on this cable to look for the reason that the flap does not go. Because it's all disassembled, assembled. And if you also change the stove, there's a radiator or clean it. It's a torpedo to remove, throw everything off, put it back. This cable has just been hammered. It blows and it's good, it doesn't flow into the cabin and it's good. Although there are some doubts about this. Let's not make a guess and sin on the stove. It should work fine. I don't want to remove the torpedoes at all in any case. Of the necessary, there is less and less where to climb, let's say. And it turns out that now we have a lunch break and let's go test. To test what I did with the flap there. A stocking. Well, that's not visible either. Cleaned and put in place in a real stocking. Well, and deal with antifreeze, deal with oil in a box, and everything is possible. On wheels, it is clear. You will need to buy more winter. I've been talking to a guy here. He said, why don't you try coking the engine, since you have such an incredible amount of oil? Perhaps the oil removal rings are lying down, and this will somehow help. I don't really believe that. Plus, the motor has already passed 500,000 only on the odometer. It is unknown how much it has passed in real life. Therefore, will coking help? Will it kill the motor? What do you think? But I would start with a light unpacking into the tank and unpacking in the cylinder. But in order to get into the cylinders, you need to unscrew the candles, and I don't have a candle holder. In short, we will solve this issue in the near future. And so we have lunch and go to change the antifreeze. Lunch is over, which means we have to go. So there is oil. I poured some antifreeze. Starting up, I think in general, on food. There is even a clutch, there are brakes. The brakes still need to be pumped. Pump. Well, it's a starter. Easy. Fur. What do we have here? And oil, and everything connected with it. Whatever, we swing the wheels. So, well, listen, it doesn't smoke that much. It stood for 2 weeks. And the jar is mumbling. From under the bottom, it is mumbling. The wheel.
Hello?
Hello?
Something to wash.
No, there's nothing left to wash.
Do you have any change?
No, there's no change, guys. Anyway, here we are. We have come to where we left from. The revs are floating. Now they have more or less stabilized. The temperature is over 90 degrees. The car is generally dubak. That is, well, everything is bad with the stove. It smells of antifreeze in the cabin. I think it's because of past jokes that poured out of a crappy yoke on the motor. Well, the antifreeze sensor, as a matter of fact, tells us that everything is not so here. Let's take a look at what's going on there in general. Okay, well, at least it's not pouring outside. The pipe? Listen, but it's not cold. But it's not cold. And which one is the reverse? Yes, a good noise. Which is the reverse, not cold. Along the way, the sensor is lying to us. Temperature. So, it is necessary to throw it out, so as not to have problems under the pillow later. In short, the pipe is not cold at all. This one is hot, of course, but this one is 1,000 times hotter than this one. Oh, it's going to pour. How scary. So, okay. In short, we have a traffic jam. Oh shit. Yes, it all needs to be changed. Let him stand for a while, come to his senses, go to the store, and do all this business. Valdez. Okay, not fatal. I have 10 liters of antifreeze with something. But the salon will stink for a long time. In general, that's what I haven't read. Need to. Okay, I'll tell you later. So, while I was driving, it got completely dark. To the vegetable gardens. The fact that the handbrake light is on permanently, is this normal or what? Or what? Or is it abnormal? The temperature is 100 degrees. The stove is not ale at all. So, now of course I will try. The plaque is a fly. This song begins with an alarm. I'll try to solve something. Oh, it has its own music in the evening. Sorry, I won't turn it off. But it's unlikely to work. Now to solve the issue with antifreeze. The ass is shorter. Okay, I'll show my face while I trade. What would be no when yes? Come on. But it's not hot at all, not once. We need to look for air. We need to look for air in the system. Such a kind of occupation. Musical accompaniment is present. I hope not VME. I hope you can't hear me. And the point is what? Return to the canister and slowly pour the antifreeze. In theory, if, in my opinion, it works, everything should merge here. We will replace at least part of the antifreeze, because there is definitely an air plug here. Let's try to pump it somehow too. This. That's all it is. In general, everything like that. Well, it turned out that it turned out. And we have almost 4 liters, maybe even more than 4 liters of some incomprehensible liquid. In general, we need to pump the stove somehow now. Air is present. That's how we're going to pump the stove now. Let's try at least. Because removing the clamps did not lead to anything. The air comes out there, if you look closely. Yes. Yes. The procedure is over. It's still dirty antifreeze. But the problem is that that pipe has remained cold, and there is air there. And he feels very bad, so he will need to be changed. What do we have in the dry balance? We have minus 10 liters of antifreeze and some kind of brown goo. 2 cans. It's with flakes, now there will be an unpleasant sediment, so to speak. Well, at least the antifreeze has been replaced, and that's good. Now I'm driving it to idle, maybe it will still gobble up. There's about half a liter left. And so in general, the procedure needs to be repeated, and most likely the thermostat needs to be changed. That one. It is unknown whether it works or not. But if it's hot, it should work. And let's try to wash the stove a little differently next time. So the cooling system is fine. But the heating is not that it got dark as well. It gets dark early here, so we're going to warm up. Look at how much antifreeze has eaten. But it shouldn't eat a lot, because I kicked out some kind of air. At least because of this tube. I definitely expelled the air, and that's good. So we will have the temperature correctly displayed by the temperature sensor, because it is located. In general, let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up, and we need to take it all somewhere. I'll probably take you to the service tomorrow. Well, or someday, when I'm free. And so far, work. While the work. A little bit before landing. Well, such an event. In general, nothing pours from below, it seems. This is a plus. The stove does not heat, this is a minus. But we know how to deal with it. YouTube needs to be pumped, shed. In general, the car drives, again, I repeat, but conditionally I don't like how the box behaves. So we will deal with this in the near future too. I mean, she's making noise. So, a minimum of oil or a minimum of a box. I don't know. And so in general. Technically, it's ready so and so. Podzop is ready for this winter. The only thing is, we change the rubber. Once again, we change the antifreeze with the stove. Let's try coking. It will be necessary to change the oil because there is too much sludge, deposits and other things in the engine. That's all about it later. And you need to look closely at the electrics. It shouldn't be like this. Well, whatever. You need to look closely at the electrics. Therefore, we are also doing this. There seems to be less smoke. There was less smoke. But there are a couple of nuances that are related to smoke. It starts up better. The battery goes out, but it's still burning. The handbrake light is barely visible. I've driven a few kilometers now, and it really smokes less on the highway. But our fuel consumption is 44 liters so far. Let him continue to show. While there is no time to do this, finish the project. We will mature in this direction. That's it. That's it. I'm tired for today. It's just disgusting. Can bother with this facade. Yes, we will need long screws. I'm not going to restore it. That's it for today. Let's go home. Can we wash up? No, not home today.